In our last video, we arrived in France, and on our first day, we took the train into Paris and visited the Luxembourg Garden. The second day, we visited the Cathedral of Notre Dame and the close-by Sainte-Chapelle. Then we took the metro over to Montmartre, where we climbed to the top of the dome of the Sacré-Cœur. In this video, we will continue our tour around beautiful Paris, and we will visit the Musée d'Orsay, and then we will enjoy a cheese and wine tasting.
This is interesting. This is a Starbucks in Paris, right by the Leal train station, or kind of Châtelet-Leal train station, where our regional train dropped us in. You can see they're offering way more comfort than in the US. So very interesting that way. This harkens back to when they were more comfortable in the beginning. All right, so this is along the Seine, the beautiful big river that winds its way through Paris. This is the edge of the Louvre, and then the Louvre just goes and goes and goes and goes, and then where you see it goes way beyond that. And then here's our gang, Doug, Chris, and Celia, getting up. We'll be crossing that bridge to get to Musée d'Orsay. It'll be beautiful today. It's a little cold. I'm just walking along the Seine toward Musée d'Orsay, and panning back here again is the Louvre. We're coming up to Musée d'Orsay, and just look at the architecture in the old Paris Orléans that was a train station previously. Just beautiful. We're here in Musée d'Orsay, and just take a quick scan around kind of the central gallery that has all of these different sculptures. And we have a tour guide, so we're following our tour guide now.
Those paintings were shocking, and today we don't feel that. We just see decorative, nice, soothing paintings, but in the times, again, they were considered by some people even disgusting.
Before the 1860s, artists used layer upon layer of paint to achieve a smooth, almost photographic appearance.
Young art making will be challenged and completely changed by the Impressionist generation in the 60s and 70s of the 19th century. You'll see in those paintings later on how the brushstroke of the artist is keen. There you do feel the struggle of the artists as opposed to people. This is a very interesting masterpiece by the young artist Bouguereau. Bouguereau will become, when he's older, one of the most important artists in Paris. He was actually open to interesting ideas, and this is a quite bold painting for the times when he was painting. 1850. He was only 25 years old, and he selected for this painting a scene taken from Dante Alighieri's Inferno. All the gleaners. The gleaners are these women who are given the right to go to the countryside after the harvest to pick up all of the leftovers.
Once in the 1840s, the realism artistic movement emerged. Paintings began to depict typical modern people with truth and accuracy, rejecting the exaggerated emotionalism and drama of the Romantic movement. Manet, sometimes called the father of modernism, depicted the real-life Paris of the 19th century. This painting by Manet was controversial not because the woman was nude. It is inspired by Titian's 1534 Venus of Urbino. Instead of the submissive face depicted in Titian's Venus, this woman has a confrontational gaze. There are other clues in the painting that she is a prostitute.
we're just had an amazing tour of Musee d'Orsay with Eduardo Jimenez, very nice fellow who is from the south of Spain, studied architecture, I'm sorry, not architecture, art history at, I think he said University of Madrid, and then later at the Sorbonne in Paris. And then he's worked at the Louvre doing some work in research, and then also works teaching and leading tours. It's beautiful. Beautiful Parisian sky today. It's like an impressionist painting practically. So this is cool. This is a bridge over the Seine, and you can see it through the slats. That's the old exhibition grounds from the World's Fair sometime in the later 1800s when the Eiffel Tower was built. And there's the Musée d'Orsay. This is pretty interesting. So these are former riverboats that have been converted basically into houseboats. And then, gosh, just look at the sky that we're getting day after day. So far we're just getting these magical skies. It is a little cold, to be sure. There's Doug there, and we're in the Jardin des Tuileries. Not quite sure exactly how you pronounce that. It's complicated. There's Celia and Chris going ahead. So this is on the edge of the Jardin des Tuileries, and have this nice big pond and fountain. In the distance you can see, I think that's the obelisk that's at the Place de la Concorde, and then beyond it you see the Arc de Triomphe. I'll zoom in for that. Famed Arc de Triomphe. There's my dear Celia, getting some of the garden and the Jardin des Tuileries.
Jardin des Tuileries was created by Catherine de Medici as the garden of the Tuileries Palace in 1564. It was opened to the public in 1667 and became a public park after the French Revolution.
So yeah, this is the Place de la Concorde, which I guess apparently is the biggest public square in France. In Paris. And then amongst other things, it has this obelisk, and as well as two beautiful fountains on either side. And it's the site of notable public executions, sadly, including Marie Antoinette was executed here. That's a little grim to think about. But we're just enjoying it now in 2025.
This Luxor obelisk was gifted by Egypt to France in the 1830s. There are two fountains in the Place de la Concorde. They were both completed in 1840 during the reign of King Louis Philippe. This one represents the navigation and commerce of the rivers of France.
Jardin d'Alessé, and it's really beautiful. And this will work our way over to the Jardin des Tuileries. Metro at Place de la Concorde. We're going to be taking it down to Châtelet, and then we'll walk from there to Ile-Saint-Louis. Master videographer and YouTuber Cecilia. So we are on the Seine. We're on a bridge that's heading on to Ile-Saint-Louis. We're going to be meeting Chris and Doug for, I believe it's a cheese and maybe wine tasting that she set up. And in the distance, you can see the Notre Dame, which still is having all the flying buttresses worked on.
What's the name of the island that Notre Dame is on?
Ile de la Cité. And then you can see where the river splits there.
We are at the cheese and wine tasting. We had a very informational instructions on how to swoosh, smell, swoosh, and breathe in through the mouth and out through the nose. It was amazing. Different flavors, same cheese, with and without the rind, with and without the wine. Just amazing.
Cheese expert Agathe led us down into the 16th century basement for a wonderful education in cheese tasting.
I know. Go up to take a bottle of wine. Be careful that you that's me, I'm small.
Alright, 1, 2.
Cheese! It's a time of your life where you need to say cheese.
Everyone say fromage.
Fromage! And just for the blue cheese, I want to say you something. You know, blue cheese, it's a family. And inside this family, you have lots of different blue. For example, in Italia, they have the gorgonzola. Okay? And when it's a little bit white, like that, it's because it's the Roquefort. Roquefort, it's always very white. You know why or you don't know why?
Don't know.
Yes, don't worry, I will explain you. It's because, you know, all the animal ate grass. And inside the grass, you have a natural colorant. And the natural colorant named carotene, like inside the carrots. Goat and sheep digest all the carotene. Donc their milk are always very white. And the cows don't digest the carotene, donc their milk are always yellower than the two others. Okay?
Yellow? Is that what you said?
Yellow, yeah.
More
Yeah,
yellow.
more yellow.
More
Yes.
yellow.
You know, for example, this one, you look this cheese, oh, it's very yellow because it's cow. It's a goat. Okay? And when it's yellower here, it's because it's a good aging. The bacteria start to eat the rind. You remember what is the name of the family of the breed? It's bloomy rind. Perfect. Because when we look the rind with microscope, it's like a forest of flowers. This cheese, when you look the cheese and when you touch the rind, it's very velvety. It's not white and velvety, but it's brown and velvety. Okay? This rind, we call that cat's hair. Okay? But it's not real cat's hair.
That's good.
Of course, imagine we have cats.
That'd be a lot of
We
work.
have fromages.
Lot of work, yes. And this cheese named Saint-Nectaire. And Saint-Nectaire, it's very, very famous in France, but I don't know why exactly it's not famous at l'international. We can eat all the rinds when it's natural rinds.
It's not what?
When
Natural.
It's natural.
Oh, when it's not.
When it's not natural, it's because it can be wax,
Wax.
cheesecloth, sometimes plastic, but all the others you can. Okay? Don't worry. Gouda, it's wax.
It's wax.
Not natural, you don't eat. But all the others, today, for example, you can eat all the rinds. But when it's a hard cheese like that, it's not an obligation. We don't judge. We judge all the others, but this one I don't judge. You know why? It's because to make a cheese like that, we need 500 liters of milk just for one cheese.
Oh boy.
It's a very dense cheese. When we have the full wheel, it's between 33 and 40 kilos, 77 pounds. And like it's very heavy like that, we roll the cheese on the floor. Okay, it's for that it's not very clean. It's for that we said it's not an obligation to taste this
Okay.
rind. But don't worry, in French we eat all the rinds. Wine we will taste. It's a wine come from Loire Valley. A good place for wines. You have a lot of Sauvignon Blanc. It's the name of the grapes. And this wine, the denomination of the wine, it's Pouilly Fumé. You know, inside the different region, you have different denomination. And this one, it's Pouilly Fumé. And in France, when we have a wine with denomination, we don't put the name of the grapes on the bottle. Because everybody needs to know Pouilly Fumé, it's always Sauvignon Blanc. And it's a yellow, very pale. It's not orange and golden, you know. And now we will smell it. First nose, you put the nose on the middle of the glass. Oh, it smells stronger. It smells flowery, grassier.
Yeah, very different.
We keep green apples, you know, the acidity of green apples. And now we will taste. Alors, to taste, I explain. To taste, you will put wine in your mouth. You will do that. It's not beautiful, but it's life. After that, you swallow. After the swallow, you will inhale air with mouth and exhale air with nose. And this process will change your life because between nose and mouth you have olfactive points, and when the air circles on the points, life is better. We can make cheers in Paris. This goat cheese named Chabichou, and Chabichou come from the same region where we have the wine. Okay, in Loire Valley. Okay, this cheese, it's a lactic cheese, goat cheese, but lactic cheese. Not too young, not too old, but not too young. We can see that with the big parts of aging, you know. And now you can. And oui, I want to say you something, because you know, goat cheese sometimes they are very gray on the rind. I don't know if you know that, but when it's gray, it's not mold, it's ash. Sometimes on the goat cheese we put ash to keep and protect the cheese, because minimum of aging for this cheese it's 5 days. It smells nice. And now we will taste. Alors, to taste, it's exactly like for the wine. You put cheese in your mouth, you melt it, you put that on the cheek, and after that you will inhale air with mouth and exhale air with nose. Okay? you can go. You can go.
And we can eat the rinds out of it.
Like that. You put that on the roof.
Good.
Yes, can I have a baguette or can I have a baguette tradition? You have always the choice between these two. Choose always baguette tradition, traditional baguette, because it will be the best. And this wine comes from Beaujolais. And the grape we use for this wine, it's full gamay.
Agathe did a wonderful job teaching us about cheese and wines from the different regions of France, and the pairings were wonderful. A special surprise was the Roquefort with the dessert wine. Next time, we have a guided tour of the Louvre. We take a river cruise on the Seine, and we visit one of the happiest places on earth.